The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Hi, I'm your host, Miranda. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side. We are coming to you live from QA-TV, Channel 8 in Quincy, Massachusetts. The lines are now open, so feel free to call the station. Our loved ones are gone but not forgotten, and just a thought away. And I have something really interesting to share with you. In between, while I'm waiting for you guys to call, a couple of weeks ago, I was in the car. I'm going to be talking about transfiguration. Sorry, I went ahead, but I'm going to be talking about transfiguration. It hasn't been scientifically proven, but back in the 1900s, when spiritualism started taking off, they believed that, in a sense, where you sit around the table and a medium is in charge of things that are going on with the scent, that spirits can do impressions on the medium's face where they transform through the medium so the living will see who they are. I wasn't sure about that part of the gift until a couple of weeks ago when I was going over to White Horse Beach with somebody for a nice drive, and all of a sudden when we got to where the old clam shack used to be, it's run down and not in operation anymore. All of a sudden, the person that was taking me there, I looked at her and she just like changed a little bit, and then all of a sudden I was like, going on, enjoying the nice summer day. When I got back home, I had a call from her on my phone the next day. We FaceTimed each other, and I'm like, you're not the person I saw in the car the other day. You were totally different. And so I called somebody I know, Pat, who's a wonderful medium and reverend, and I said to her, listen, this happened. And she said they were just being very, persistent with me to let me know that they were there in the car. So I said, I thanked her very much for that. She said, and always remember too, if you're doing any kind of spirit communication, the deceased people, our loved ones, they don't control you. You control them, and you can say, like, not now, now is not a good time. But to get back to what I was talking about, I met up with her mom a couple of days after that experience, and I started telling her what happened. I said, this beautiful woman was in the car with your daughter the other day when I was going to White Horse Beach. And she said to me, do you know what she looked like? I said, yes, she had beautiful dark brown hair, beautiful dark brown eyes, and liked to wear her lipstick. And she was just, very bubbly and very nice. And she said, oh my God, Karen. I said, what? That's my sister. And I said, oh boy. So as I got talking to her, sharing information with her, she said to me, can you tell me where this started? I said, yeah, at the beginning of Taylor Avenue. But by the time we got to the end of Taylor Ave to go up to Point, which is down in Plymouth, Massachusetts, up that road, she just disappeared. And she said, oh my goodness, my sister used to, work there at the place and owned it. I said, oh, thank you for sharing that. But in the meantime, her sister's been very persistent with me on and off for the last couple of months, because back in May, I think it was, I did a drawing of her on the paper, and she came through on the paper for me. Because through the years, she had the long hair, then she started cutting it short. So I said, okay, so that makes a lot of sense of why she showed herself looking that way to me. And then I said, And there's also been a little girl around you too that has been around on and off, and she understood. And it was around this time of the year. And I said, I'm seeing kites, so what could be informational with you might not make sense, but it's just the way spirits interpret things to me. She said, oh my goodness, Karen. I said, what? She said, we used to go down to the beach, and we used to do kites up in the air and whatever else they did. And I said, oh my goodness, because that was just their way of honoring the little girl, because that's what she liked to do, and the candles and everything like that. Of course, you can't do it now, which is okay too. But she said she wanted to thank me very much for the information I had shared. And sometimes they don't let me go, like leave me alone, where I don't understand why. Because her sister actually went out of her way to, manifest just a little bit in front of me with her physical self of what she looked like when she was here on the earth plane. So I thanked her sister, and I said, thank you for sharing all these wonderful things, and then you can go be with your family. And sometimes it can just be overbearing a little bit too when they do that. And they can be persistent sometimes with me too, especially when they have a message that they're trying to get across, and that's what they do. And I said to my friend, I said, I'm happy to deliver the message to you from your sister and to your daughter. So that was wonderful, and I thank you guys very much for sharing that experience. From time to time, I do go to Pat about stuff because I don't have all the answers. And I said to myself, even when they do the transformation thing, I said, okay, and stuff like that, if you guys could have another way to present yourselves to me, that would be great. But like I said, it hasn't been scientifically proven, but it was proven to me on and off a couple of times, because I was talking to her sister that's alive. I said to her, Nanette, your face looks different. You have a little bit more wrinkles. And she said, oh, my grandmother had a lot of wrinkles. And I said, okay, so it's been happening a little bit. But I did ask them, don't you hear me say back off? There's a reason for that, because sometimes they can just get over bombarded with these loved ones, because they all want to have something to say. And when it starts getting like that with me, that's why I have to do that during a reading. But that just totally took me off guard with all that. And I thanked the deceased loved one. I gently said some prayers and, said, you can let your family know you're here, and that's okay. You can go home now to heaven and stuff like that and meet a family member, because our families are there to greet us when it's our time to go. And I said, I thanked her very much, because it was too funny. This happened, it was around her anniversary, and Gail's anniversary, who came through for me last year, but she started coming through again for me too. And I said, all right, so I gotta wait till I talk to so-and-so so I can deliver the message to her, and you gotta back off and wait your turn. But at least, I said to myself, at least that time it was great, because she did wait. And once I talked to Colette, I had said to her, Gail's around you again, so what does she have to say? But what was happening last year when I filmed the show, Gail is somebody who's very lovely, who's on the other side. I had her and Cindy on. Cindy's been my guest on and off on the show. And they were both sitting, I was doing the reading for them. And what happened was, with the confusion thing with the reading too, is what I'm trying to explain to you guys as well. They were friends, they were all friends, they were all three friends. And what was going on with Cindy is I was doing the Three Stooges imitation, and then with the Colette, I was doing the Golden Girls, which is no longer on, so I was doing the Golden Girl thingy with them. And not realizing at that particular time when I was talking to Cindy just the other day, she said, I can take the Three Stooges from Gail. She said, we used to do that all the time. And then Colette, on the other hand, said to me, but I can take the Golden Girls because we used to talk about that all the time. So it's just too funny how they can, you know, when the energy comes in very strong like that, you know, I said, all right, now I know what's going on, because there's two different people here for a reading, and she's trying to get the message across to them so that way they could each understand, because one did one thing with Gail and another one did something totally different with Gail. So I said, all right, thank you for sharing that, guys. I appreciate that. So, but Gail's around and, you know, being happy and joking around like she always did. And you don't change with your personalities when you cross over to the other side, into the heavens and stuff like that. And on the other side, it was really just too funny with this one energy, because sometimes they can be overpowering, even for me. And I'm like sitting there going, all right. And I don't have all the answers, like I said a couple of minutes ago. With that's where I had to learn to trust. And my reverend friend said to me, but the more you trust, the more you evolve. And I said, all right, thank you for letting me share that information. And I just like to share these things with you guys, because this is just the way that your loved ones will communicate, you know, with you too. Spirit manifestation. When the spirit does impressions on your, takes over your looks, that's very rare with me. And it happened like a couple of times, like I just shared with you. And, you know, I said to myself, that's just another way that spirit will communicate with you, is through transfiguration. And I just wanted to thank them for that. The young folks, the last time I was on a show, there was a little girl that came through. She was validated. I just can't say too much. But I wanted to thank the person for understanding who they were. Because when a child comes to, you know, when anybody comes to, when they're trying to get a message through to somebody, it can be very difficult, especially when the person isn't there. And I said, all right. So that's why you saw me wave. And the last caller that called, sometimes it can be confusing for the person calling. So what I had to do is, but sometimes, like I talked about a couple of minutes ago, the deceased loved one can get very persistent and kind of maybe like a little pushy, because they're wanting to get the message across. And it might not be for the caller that's calling me, but for somebody else who might be listening in, or I have to wait. And they always usually pretty much let me know who to go to, which is really great, because, you know, I feel very blessed that way. So the person that was coming through, she was being a little pushy, so that will happen sometimes too, because I remembered one time when I was on a ghost tour, actually, we were on, and my friends Andrew and Erin just looked at me and they said, you know, during the tour, we're not used to seeing you like this. I said, because I just found out they can be very pushy with me and stuff like that, because I was determined to get the message, but I got to do it gently with the loved ones sometimes, because sometimes when they're getting a message across, they can be like that. And sometimes too, they can get very personal with information during a reading. And I'm just like sitting there going, all right, so if I ever get too personal with you guys have to let me know at home, so that way I'll know not to, you know, say personal stuff, because they will do that with me. And it can be very interesting how they, you know, inform me, because I'm a clairsentience medium, which is really nice, because, you know, when they get going like that, roses, I did want to touch base a little bit more about flowers, because I know I talk about that a lot too. But a couple of weeks ago, when I was, you know, getting ready to do a meditation, I was getting to that zone, but it was before I got to that meditation zone, when all of a sudden I looked up on the ceiling and I saw the rose out of my head. And I thanked whoever was in the room. Well, if you see roses out of your head, you know, a scent, perfume, sometimes our deceased loved ones are trying to get a message across to you to let you know I'm still around. That's just their way, because of the, you know, symbolically. with the flowers, and just let you know that too. And it was really nice because and it could be also grief too with the flowers too as well, as you know, with that happening and things like that. So I said, that's really wonderful. And somebody was just asking me a long time ago, you know, about the overwhelming part of it. I said, just when they have unfinished business with somebody, I'm just learning more about unfinished business myself, because that's why sometimes there'll come repetition, because they have a message that they really want to get across to somebody. And when one time I can remember talking to somebody on the phone, they said, but they're not open to this. I said, that's okay. It's okay if you're skeptic. I love skeptics, you know, to call and, you know, and stuff like that. And she said, how can I deliver the message to somebody? I said, well, and this is what I went to do a couple of shows back, to share how you guys at home can deliver the message. Just what you sharing memories of. Somebody comes up in a topic of conversation, you can bring up like a message or something like that, or say, I share something that the person did with the person that's still alive that had crossed over to the other side, and share what they're saying. Just, you know, bring it up in casual conversation. So that way, you know, it's easier for the person that's, you're talking about, the loved one too, can understand that, which is totally wonderful, and things like that. My daughter, Michelle, said to me, Ma, how do you know these things? I said, that's when I had to learn to really trust. And believe me, that was a biggie with me, with the trust issue, even on my end. Hi, there's somebody over there next to the girl doing the camera. But that's where I had to really, really trust with what they were giving me. Believe me, it took a long time for me to trust what I was getting from the deceased loved ones that have crossed over. And I'm at that now where I finally just had to accept all of it, and which was really nice. And one time I can remember when I was sick and in the hospital, all of a sudden people read my chart and knew what I was, and people started coming in the rooms getting readings. So one by one they were all getting readings and a drawing to boot when I was giving them the readings. So that's when I said, okay, now I have to get back to doing the mediumship, because, you know, personal stuff, I had to take 6 years off, but Spirit was not going to let me go away or go anywhere. So I said, all right, so I have to figure out how to get back to doing this again. And they let me know little by little and things like that. It's really nice too. And one of my favorite stories with the Transfiguration, I love to share this one. And when I was doing a service at this Baptist church, it's when the medium goes up in front of a crowd at this Baptist church and gives messages to the congregation. And all of a sudden, I was doing a reading of a woman in the congregation, and all of a sudden her hair got really, really messy, and her mom was coming through with a reading for her. And I said, with all due respect, ma'am, your mom is saying that her hair, her hair is a lot neater than yours. And she started roaring laughing, but she said, my mother used to say that to me all the time. So, you know, I thanked her for sharing that, but I went over to her afterwards and I said to her, you know, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. She said, no, but my mother would say that to me like all the time. Fix your hair and, you know, straighten it out. And I said, okay. And I thanked her, and it was just, church was packed and everybody just started laughing. And laughter is a good thing too, because, you know, it is. And I want to explain a little bit what goes on at a church service with the Spiritualist church too, now that I brought that up with you guys. If you should ever go to a Spiritualist church, there's some good ones out there. What goes on is they do a service where there's a medium and a reverend usually there, and they do, like in a Catholic church, hands-on healing, when you go up to the person to get prayers, and you know, it's hands-on. So that's the first part of the service. The second part of the service is like a lecture, like they do in a Catholic church too, where the person gets to do a lecture that's part of the service, and then they call it a message bearer in the Spiritus Church, where the person gets to do message work like I do for you guys here on the show. And they just go up, and sometimes it can be what they call direct mediumship, when the medium will go directly to the person and do a reading for them, or then there's indirect mediumship, where the medium does not know who they are going to. They will go to the person, and then a person in the congregation will raise their hand. So the medium will continue with the reading and give them all the information, and stuff like that. That's how it is at a Spiritus church and things like that. So I just want to explain to you a little bit what goes on at a Spiritus church and stuff like that. If you ever guys ever want to go and stuff like that, I just wanted to share that part with you. But spirits can be really funny, and our deceased loved ones can be very, very funny and very comical at times. Sometimes I miss the good old days when Grandma used to come and visit, and she would show me her cups with roses on it. And even though it's general knowledge, even though it might not make sense to you, but it will make sense to the person getting the reading. I miss those days when Grandma's coming, because I have somebody's grandmother here who has short curly hair cut to the head, or every single curl was neat and in place. Okay. Hi, Margaret. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. Are you ready for your spirit reading?
Oh, yes.
And I love your energy, and if you understand, no if you don't, okay? Have you ever been to a meeting before, Margaret?
Yes, and I heard you talking about the Spirit Church. I go to the one in Quincy on West Street, and
Okay,
I love it.
awesome. But I'm just going to explain to you really quick how I work. I'm a clairvoyant, clairsentience medium, so sometimes they'll sharing their memories with me, and I've got to get going with you, because I have a woman here. I feel like, is your mother on the other side?
Yes.
Because I have a motherly figure that's been here, and she's been just a little pushy with me, not overly pushy, because she was like that when she was here. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, because she can't stop smiling. She's an average height, but a little shorter.
Uh-huh.
If that makes sense. And
Yeah.
every curl had to be just so with her.
Yes.
And she's happy because she has more of a rounded face and healthier body. Back where because she was sick, and because of anybody, she lost a lot of weight when she got ready to pass away. Does that make sense to you, Margaret?
Yes.
But she's been around you, by the way, and you were curious and wanted to make sure she's not alone, if that makes sense to you.
Yes.
Because she's not alone. And she's with loved ones on the other side too. And she's listening down from you, and I'm trying to slow myself down because your mother's energy was quick, but you would understand what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And that's how she was. She has not changed over there. Just want to let you know, I'm keeping everybody in line over here like I did when I was alive. That would make sense to you?
Yes.
And she liked to, I'm seeing an old-fashioned sewing machine. I don't know if I'm still with your mom or your grandmother.
Yeah, she used to make dresses for herself.
Oh, okay, because I see the old, then thank you for the cleanser, because your mom is making those now, too.
Yes.
Just to let you know that. And she loved, and she said, they don't make clothes good anymore.
Correct, yes.
And that would make sense to you.
Yes.
And because she was a seamstress, for you guys and everything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, not for a living, just for personal use.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that piece of validation. And she likes the old-fashioned sewing machines better than the ones they have today.
Yep, me too.
And that would sound about right for Mom. She said, I'm glad I'm not here anymore, because they have those phones where you go like this all the time, and she would like to just call up somebody on the old-fashioned phone, and that would make sense.
Yes, landline.
And just so you know, she loves to gossip.
Yes.
That has not changed at all. She's just being quite the hot ticket over there as she was here. And she was quite I don't mean to say it this way, but quite the character, but you would know what she's talking about.
Yes.
And things like that. And she says, it's wonderful over here because I don't have to worry about burning food anymore.
No, she used to do that a lot.
Oh, yeah, and thank you so much for your... And I'm feeling the M's with her. I'm feeling the M's with... I'm getting like... I'm either with your mom or your grandmother, like the Margaret or Mary or something. I know it's a common name, too. But were you named after somebody that's on the other side?
Yes, my grandmother has the same name, and my mother's name was Marguerite.
Thank you very much. Your grandmother is with your mom.
Okay.
And they're together.
Uh-huh.
They kind of didn't get along. They were like this with the relationship. You would understand that?
Yes.
But they were close too as well.
Uh-huh.
And like family stuff, so I'm just gonna let that back off. But they're together over there. And I'm seeing, your grandmother's being a little colorful with the words a little bit with me. Would that make sense to you?
I'd never met her or anything. She was gone before I was born, so I didn't know her.
That's okay, but there is somebody that was very colorful, another female that's coming in with me that was very colorful with the words.
Well, my mother was.
Okay, so your mom has been around you, and she's just being quite the hot chick. She used to hide money in the house. Would that make sense to you?
Yes.
Because you guys found money when she passed away.
Uh-huh.
And she was chuckling about that. That was just my way of, she worked really hard. And your dad worked really hard too, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because is your dad over there too?
Yes.
Because they're all coming in together.
Okay.
And your dad is like saying, and I feel someone smoking.
That would be him.
Okay, yeah, because he said, my heart closed up really quick. That makes sense to you?
Yes.
And he had a massive heart attack when he died?
Actually,
somebody over there, I'm feeling Mill, had a massive heart attack, and it was very quick with his crossing.
I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, so I'll ask them to back up. But your dad is saying he's been funny with the smoke and stuff like that, and I see your mom going like this with the perfume or spraying some, spray so the smoke wouldn't be strong in the house, if you would understand that.
Yes.
Okay, she's being too funny with the spray, by the way. But she has learned to lighten up.
Uh-huh.
And I'm feeling somebody needed help, like just before they crossed over, and had to have, help and stuff like that, and made it possible for one of them to pass away at home, if this is making sense.
I'm not sure.
Okay, this is somebody else. I'm going to ask you to wait your turn. You might be for someone else. But I'm also seeing your grandmother. I'm seeing somebody with knitting, the old-fashioned knitting.
Uh-huh. That would probably be my grandma.
You know that phrase, knit one, purl two?
Yes.
And I had to go like that, yes. Because I see like a comforter or something.
Yes.
Like that, and that is together, and she's just so happy that she's doing that again.
Uh-huh.
And your mom she considered herself average looking when she was here, didn't consider herself beautiful, didn't consider herself, ugly or something like that. That's how it's coming across. But, very kind with her, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
With her personality. And sometimes I get talking really fast, and I apologize on my end. But sometimes when energies get working with me, I just get rambling what they're giving to me.
Uh-huh.
And she's saying she used to letter write to I'm seeing her writing letters.
Yes.
Does that make sense? And with the bills too, stuffing them and putting them all in the thing, and she was very organized with the bill box and everything like that.
Yes.
And I had to give that to you. But she's all around you, and she's got her old-fashioned dress on with the, those old-fashioned aprons that they used to put over them?
Yes, she wore them all the time.
Yeah, and she's just being quite informational with me, actually. But she's just extending, her message to you is thank you. She wanted to thank you, and she's glad to be up and around, and your dad's glad to be out driving again.
Uh-huh.
Because that would make sense, because he couldn't really drive in the end, or I have a male figure that could not drive in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's glad to be out driving again, so thank you for that. And I'm feeling somebody lost a husband, too. I don't know if I'm with you or if I'm with somebody else, or if one of your friends had recently lost a husband. I just wanted to give that to you. I don't know if that's making any sense to you.
Not too much, no.
Okay, I just have to give that to you and put it out there because they're still very sad because it was what we call a fresh death. But your mom and dad and grandmother are doing wonderful and stuff like that. And I have somebody's brother. I don't know if your brother's over there.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, he is.
Okay, because your brother's doing fine now.
Okay.
And he's not, you know, doing all the things. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get personal doing all that stuff anymore. But I just had to give that to you, if that makes sense. But they're all very happy. And Mom and Dad are celebrating an anniversary that's coming up or just passed.
It's in January?
I don't know. That's not being very clear to me, but they're celebrating because every day is like an anniversary over there on the other side. But I had to give that to you. And she's very happy that you have some of her books, by the way.
Yes.
She's very happy about that.
Okay.
And that's what I'm getting for you. And she's breathing, and she's telling me to sit up straight, not to be all hunched over. But that would make a lot of sense to you because she was all like crunched a little bit before she passed away.
Right,
And that is around you, extending that eternal love to you from the other side.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have any questions for me, and I see a birthday celebration coming up in September.
Mine's in November, but a lot of the people that have passed on are in October.
Okay, don't give me any information.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I just have to give you happy birthday. Anyways, it might not make sense now, but it could be for someone on the other side that have crossed over to heaven.
Okay.
But they all met up with each other, and they're saying drinks are on the house. That would make a lot of sense to you, Margaret.
Yes.
And they're all together doing that, saluting you from the other side. I want to thank you for sharing, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions for me because they've all backed off.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling, Margaret.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night. I will love when they do that, to share their memories that you guys did with them. And sometimes I get going really, really fast, and I don't mean to. So I have to remind myself to slow down when I'm talking, because sometimes I'll just get rambling off and stuff like that, and it's just an energy thing with me. So Karen's constantly working on that and stuff like that. So I just had to share that with you of why I talk really fast, and just to let you know that too as well. And I'm also gonna start a drawing too, and you know, if somebody understands, feel free to call the station. And I had to share transfiguration stuff with you guys because I find it fascinating, and maybe someday it will be scientifically proven. I don't know. Only time will tell with that one. But sometimes I say, I don't want that part of the gift. I don't mind the hearing. I don't mind the feeling. But that I kind of like, okay, you can back off with that now and stuff like that. But I know it's a rare thing, and people are trying to get a message across and stuff like that. So I just wanted to share. And the Spiritualist Church, they're always very welcoming in there too, to let you guys know that. And okay. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hey.
How are you tonight?
Good, you?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. You've called me before, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know you still want to know information and everything with your loved ones, and they are all doing well over there, just to let you know that, Lisa. And stuff like that. And I know you still miss your family very, very much and things like that. I just had to tell you that. And they are they are around you, just to let you know that. I had to tell you that. So, you know, I don't know if you have any questions about your family for me or not.
No, basically how they're doing, that's all.
Okay, but I just wanted to share that with you too, just to let you know, because I know I've read you before and stuff like that, and your mom, she's doing fine. She just wanted to let you know that.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So that's all I'm getting for you at this particular time. But if you want to call back at a future show, you can.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't mean to, but sometimes it's just hard, and stuff like that. I don't want to be rude is what I'm trying to say, but just trying to politely say, you can call back at another time, and it's okay, because I know people want to know more and more, and I get it, because I can remember when I was first developing, I went to some of the New Age stores myself, and why is this happening? Why is that happening? Because you want to know what's happening and what's going on with you, and it's okay, if I can't make a connection to, and that's fine with me. Sometimes the connection isn't there, or if I read you a lot, just wait a couple of months and then call back later on. And I'll be, you're always welcome to call. I wanted to fill you in on that. And I can remember, too funny, when I was developing as a medium, people were getting messages left and right from me, and I said I couldn't control what was going on with me to figure it out. And that's why, like Lisa, I would call or want to know information. And there are places you can go, to learn and grow, like I was talking about the church and different things like that earlier in the show, because there's places you can go to learn and grow and things like that, and to control and get the answers that you need. And sometimes people just have to learn to trust, like I was talking about, and trust the information that you're getting from the deceased loved ones, that are in spirit. They are listening in. Somebody asked me one time, I have to share this with you guys, too funny actually, do they see us when we're in the shower? And I said, all right. I explained that to, I believe with my beliefs, it's like a ball of energy with our loved ones that have passed away. But they will recognize us. Oh, you can see a full spirit form. I said, they don't see that. I said that. I wondered that myself. It was a good question to ask the Reverend one time. Do they see us when we're in the shower? She said, no. They might see your energy. I said, oh, thank you for sharing that for me so much, just because, I didn't have an answer to that. So just so you guys know at home, they're not with you 24/7 and things like that, because, you got life stuff you have to do too and things like that. So it was just too funny about that. And one of my favorite things is when I'm out, and it can be broad daylight, which is really interesting. When I see the footprints, Michelle and I go out, we're walkers, so I said to Michelle, did you see that? And there was footprints just the other day, and I think a month ago, Michelle, that I saw the footprints in front of me. And she said, no, Ma, but we have extra company along with us while we're enjoying a nice summer day, having an ice cream. And I said to her, it's really nice to know that they are still around, but then they disappeared, and that was okay too, with everything. And symbolism, when you see different things, like especially songs. Sometimes songs, when you hear it repetition on the phone, it can be repetition that is your deceased loved ones letting you know that they're around and everything like that through a song, which is totally wonderful. And I am going to start drawing somebody on the paper. I've had a woman, and if anybody can understand her, I would appreciate it, that's been around me too. She's older. She's in like her early 70s with short hair. And I'm going to draw her the best I can draw her on the paper. It was very short hair. And she wore one of those old-fashioned, she liked to play tennis and stuff like this. It was very athletic and very sporty. And she was still in pretty good shape when she passed away too. And just so you guys know, some of the drawings that I do here in the station have been, you know, validated. And that's just too fun. You never know what spirits are gonna say, deceased loved ones, when they do come through. And sometimes it could be a wealth of information or not a lot of information too as well. It just depends on how their energy is. Like a private person that was really private in life, sometimes, like I've known for myself, they have stay private when they're on the other side too. So sometimes when you hear me talking during a reading and it's like not a lot of information, it's just because they were very private. I'm just not very good at drawing shot here, but I'm gonna go like this anyways. Long nose. And I thought I had to share Gail with you guys because it was just so humorous with her energy when she was coming through. Because sometimes when you have two people for a reading, it can get on a show, you know, sometimes they'll try to out-jump each other and stuff like that during a reading. And I love when the older folks come in from the other generations too, and a little rounded in the face. A lot rounded in the face, actually. This is who I have drawn so far. She was rounded in the face and had very short hair and was athletic, and she was showing me playing tennis, and that's why the bandana is across up here. And she actually draw my wrinkles. That's why the person will recognize me. I said, okay, I'll do it. And it's what I call a quick sketch. And I never know when Spirit's going to show up and start letting me do messages for people either. Sometimes. And they're quite comical when you're taking a bus ride home from from shopping too sometimes. And she was an old-fashioned grandmother, but modern in a lot of ways. And sometimes during a reading too, it can be a lot of information and things like that where, okay, I have to think about that, and it might not make sense at the time, but then when you get thinking about it later on, it makes a whole bunch of sense. She had a funny nose, actually. And I'm just learning about the transfiguration stuff, so that's why in the beginning I was like sitting there going, okay, so how do I explain this? But I'm, I'm glad I at least could explain it to you guys at home at least a little bit. And I have a boy in the room again, and I think I mentioned him a couple of months back, but I had to repeat him because he had Down syndrome, and he really wants to get a message across to his family that he's doing really well now. So I had to, put that out there too again. Okay. Hi, Noel. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi, how are you tonight?
How are you? I know. How are you tonight?
I'm kind of like hanging in there.
Oh, okay. Now hanging out, right? Enjoying the nice summer night.
Yeah, well, I hope to meet up with Michelle later. She always makes me laugh. But yeah, I had a good, average day up.
Yeah. I want to get going with you, Noel, because there's a young man around you, and I know he's been trying to get a message across to you that I was responsible for taking my own life, if that makes sense to you.
It could, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because he's still around you, and he's trying to get a message across. I'm feeling like brown hair with him.
Brown, kind of like the light brown hair, though.
Yeah, okay.
Blondish.
Yeah, but a little bit darker too.
Well,
It's coming in like this because he's responsible for taking his own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, somebody's still thinking about me, and I'm fully responsible for taking my own life and things like that. Because he had a lot of stuff going on. He's just giving me information more than describing his looks to me right now and stuff like that. But he's responsible for taking his own life.
Okay.
If that
I feel guilty. I carry a lot of guilt over everything.
Okay, do you understand? Yeah, because I just, he's like saying, it's kind of like unfinished business because he's trying to get a message across to someone, Noel, and things like that.
Message might be, I don't know.
Yeah, because he's like, sitting there saying, I'm gonna give this to you. He's telling me he was misunderstood.
He was misunderstood. That makes sense. Yeah, totally.
I can't. It sounds staticky with you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I moved my phone away from my mouth so no one can ever hear me. So, no,
yeah, because I had to give that. Does that make sense to you? Yes, if you understand. No, if you don't.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he's quite the hot ticket at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? The party animal type.
Yeah, like Senator McKenzie.
Yeah, really party animal. I don't know if it's him, but I feel like there's somebody that like a biker or a dykey or something like that. Is that making sense?
Kind of, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that kind of
okay.
does.
I'm so glad, and I'm sorry if it's coming in this way, but this is how the message is really relaying to me. He's on the bike again.
Okay.
And on a motorcycle, but he used to get tickets when he was here.
He used to get like speeding tickets?
Yeah, he was a little heavy on the foot is what I'm trying to say.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and he's been, it's just coming in like this with him because he said, I wasn't a looker, but he had a kind heart, he's telling me to tell you.
Okay.
And the reason why it's coming like this is because he was private. Except for huh?
That makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
he was private, but within his own group of friends, he was, outgoing.
Right.
Yeah, if that's making sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he's like totally responsible for what he did.
Yeah.
And that need to be, because he's been trying to get a message to you, on and off, and he said, she's really not listening to me, but I'm trying to let her know that it is me and I'm around her and stuff like that, because I'm feeling choking with him
Yeah.
and stuff like that, so that makes sense due to his crossing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad you can understand that, because I don't want to get too personal with this crossing, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because he was found.
Yeah. Well,
Or that's something. Check into that if you don't understand, because
no, I do understand. I think you might be referring to like.
yeah, don't give me any information. You know
Okay,
me.
okay.
Don't tell me anything. Just yes if you understand, no if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's being really heavy like this with him because this is how it was. And I don't know if it's him or another friend you have that's on the other side, but I'm seeing tattoos.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
No.
thank you very much. And I'm seeing like a leather jacket. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, because he has all that stuff with him over there, by the way. And yeah,
thanks.
and he's back to his old self.
He is. That's good.
Yeah, and things like that. And he said, I'm responsible for my own actions, which is the biggest message, because somebody still really misses him. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah. It was like unfinished.
Yeah,
With so
and
many
it's coming in like this with me because it's a pretty heavy situation.
Yeah.
With what happened to him, you would understand that.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I also have a grandfather that's around you in spirit.
Oh, I love my grandfather more than anything.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think of him all the time.
I'm gonna give you the common name anyways, but I'm feeling Joseph or John with you, with somebody on the other side. Huh?
John, I mean,
Okay, I just have to give that to you anyways. You know, think about it. It could be someone over there or somebody in the family would know, like your mom or something, because she's still here. Your mom is still alive.
Yeah.
And she might understand that information
Okay.
for you. And yeah, your friend is like sitting there saying, I'm back to my old self. And I'm taking responsible. And it's coming in like this with me because it's heavy. It's real, but you know what I'm talking about.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and things like that. And I'm gonna give this to you anyways, but I'm feeling there's an uncle over there on the other side for you too.
I'm trying to think.
Somebody,
There's one uncle, but he
yes,
like,
if you understand, no, if you don't. I'm not hearing the reception very clear.
Yeah, no, I don't really understand the uncle thing, but it might be, I don't know, someone who acted like an uncle.
Okay, yeah, I asked though, but your friend, most of all, he was the one coming in the strongest for you tonight.
Yeah.
And your grandmother's doing a lot better. She wanted me to tell you that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because she's very healthy and very, and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's been like this with me because your friend, he's just coming in like this with me and enjoying
You told me that before. You told me that multiple times.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And he's saying, I'm so sorry, but you know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is why it's coming in like this for you. But he's on his motorcycle enjoying a nice ride tonight.
Ooh, I want to jump on a motorcycle, but I know I can't even drive a car, so.
Yeah, don't give me any information. I need my graphic up. But yeah, and he's all around you, and he's extending that fun friendship. He's got that back.
Yeah.
And he's helping others over there because he did help a couple of people when he was here too.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm so glad. And I'm gonna give this to you anyways. But happy birthday.
Me?
Okay, I'm glad you can understand that and celebrate. And he wants you to go out and enjoy the nice night air and stuff like that. And you've been curious about him still too. That's why it's coming in like this, because he was responsible for taking his own life.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I have to go. I don't know if you have any questions for me or not, but that's who I'm getting for you tonight.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you one question, but if you need to take other callers, that's fine.
Oh, thank you, Noel. Thank you for calling.
All right, thank you, Miranda. I'll see you later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night. Sometimes it can get very heavy, and I know life can get very tough with sometimes, and you just can't take it anymore. But there is help out there where you can go. I don't know if they have the number you can call on the phone, but yeah, it's just, thank you, that you can call, because you're not alone. But you gotta want to have the help, you know, have somebody to talk to, and you can call that hotline on there or tell a friend, you know, and stuff like that. Hey, I might be in trouble, you know, and stuff like that, if you have a close friend, because you're never alone, and there's always someone you can go to, just to let you know that. And I just had to share that. And I want to thank all the callers that called tonight. With the long weekend coming, I know I tell you guys this all the time, that if you have a little one too many to drink, please give your keys to a friend. Please don't drink and drive before you hurt yourself or somebody in the process with that, because, you know, life is really too short. And if you have a little one too many, you know, sleep it off on a friend's couch or something like that. And we all need a little, I know I talk about it, but we need a little bit of a reminder about that. And I want to thank Noel and Maureen and even Lisa for calling tonight. Thank you guys. And I want to thank my crew for taking that time out with their busy schedule and stuff like that. And I get rambling, so but it's just the energy that's working with me. And our loved ones are gone, but not forgotten. Sending lots of love and light every day. And stay healthy and safe over the holiday weekend. And just be careful when you're out driving too, okay? And enjoy the end of the summer celebration.